Callise questions, should you play Tormented Souls? And I just realized the last time I did one of these was for Dark Souls. So apparently, now I'm questioning myself that every time I do one of these, it's been a Souls in the title game. Yeah, oh well. First, I'm going to tell the story of what got me to play Tormented Souls. I went into a GameStop. The worker said we're having a buy one, get one free sale. Want to see the list? Yeah, I want to see the list, but I don't know any of these games. He says a lot of YouTubers he's been watching have been playing Tormented Souls. And it's exactly like a PS2 survival horror game. He asked me, do you like PlayStation 2 Survival Horror Games? I said, I love PS2 Survival Horror Games. And honestly, that's all I needed to say. Here, take my money, because I love PlayStation 2 Survival Horror Games. So the real question you should be asking yourself if you're looking into Tormented Souls is, do you love PlayStation 2 Survival Horror Games? And if you answer yes, you should just go and play the game. Stop watching the video and go right now. Wait, actually, please finish the video. But Tormented Souls felt like it transported me back to a small little town of Silent Hill. No, wait, actually, it felt like I went back to old PlayStation 2 survival horror games. And this game felt exactly like I had gone back in time and was playing a PlayStation 2 survival horror games. It had all the pieces in all the right places to feel like I was playing one of these games now. It has fixed camera angles, which you really don't see nowadays. Fixed camera angles can lead you to feel like somebody's watching you and you don't have control over the situation. And even though it can be a little quirky when you change the camera area on how you move your analog stick, but it creates a feeling that you just don't get when you have over-the-shoulder cameras. The puzzles in this game really make you think sometimes, and sometimes the puzzles are not always solved the first way you might think they are. This game really has you examining your inventory items and trying to figure out if it'll help you unlock any way to solve the puzzles. This game had me really thinking on what the objects I picked up and where they were supposed to go to be able to solve each puzzle. I have a whole video dedicated to the music on this game. I call it a haunted melody piano piece. And I really love that each time you enter the saving portal room, you would hear the melody begin to play. And for that short time, you would know that this room could be safe for at least a little while. Quirky voice acting is something on my list, and why? It was funny, I was complaining about the voice acting of this game, and my friend says to me, but that's a part of the PlayStation 2 charm. And who has forgotten some of the silly voice acting in some PS2 games? Like me and my friend Hanada, I was showing her Haunting Ground, and one of the characters delivered this line, "You miserable little wench," and we laughed so hard about that line. So this game definitely has the charming, quirky voice acting that's really hilarious to me, but it makes it so much fun.
Father, what are you doing here?
Don't you see, child? I am eating some soup.
This game can be difficult. This game does not hold your hand. You cannot change the difficulty setting. But that was the way it was back in the PlayStation 2 game. You had to get good and figure things out for yourself. And I have a whole video about dealing with the combat in this game. But that's the thing about these type of games is like you feel the sense of accomplishment that you were able to overcome the challenges this game threw at you and you were able to defeat it and beat the game. And it feels so satisfying to get through a game that can be a little bit more difficult. Hanada and I were playing Haunting Ground, and we were talking about the environments of the set, that even though Haunting Ground was a PlayStation 2 game, that the environment still looked really incredible. And that's something I noticed about Tormented Soul, is like the environment has so many pieces to it. If you just look at the walls and the paintings and the objects that are in the room, there's so much detail to it. And even though PS2's hardware had limitations, the environment always stood out. And Tormented Souls brought me back to looking at all the environment and how detailed it looks. So that GameStop worker who pitched me this game, that it is a PlayStation 2 survival horror game, he got it exactly right, and it was exactly what I wanted it to be. If you've checked out my channel or you're a subscriber, you probably noticed I made a ton of videos about Tormented Souls. I cannot wait for them to release Tormented Souls 2 and see all the different things they decide to do.
Thanks for watching. Maybe you'll watch more. Maybe the video on the left, maybe the video on the right. If you're on a mobile device and you don't see any videos on the screen, it's in the description.